Hello Horror Hounds! After a disappointing episode 2, it's time to dip into the third episode of season 2 of Freddy's Nightmares. It's an episode called Welcome to Springwood, so let's keep our finger knives crossed that this is a good one. Well, that surely was an episode of two halves. One really enjoyable, one really snooze-worthy. Neither of them featured Freddy at all, but the strength of the storytelling in the first segment really meant that didn't matter at all. Welcome to Springwood. The A story and the B story both involve people moving into Springwood. The first section is a young professional couple, and on moving day when they arrive, she's at home to unpack and he's at work, and she finds out that the removal people have delivered someone else's boxes to their house, and this person presumably has their stuff. The only issue is that when she looks into the boxes and discovers that they belong to someone else, she finds torn and bloody clothing as well as bloody knives and swords. They have the moving stuff of a serial killer, and her concern is that the serial killer with their stuff knows where she lives. It's a really nice, tense little episode. It does fall back on the horrible trope of the woman having a history of mental illness and coming off her meds. So every time she calls her husband, worried, or has a dream or a fantasy sort of nightmare scenario of the serial killer turning up at her house, he puts all of her worries and concerns down to her history of mental illness. There is a fantastic twist at the end. She becomes more and more paranoid and convinces him. She gets the other address from the moving company and convinces him to go to that house. When the shoe finally drops that the husband owns both houses and that all the boxes belong to him, and that just house A went to house B and vice versa, and that he's the serial killer, it's fantastic. There's not really much in the way of nightmares. There's absolutely nothing in the way of Freddy, but the way the story plays out is superb. It could be an Alfred Hitchcock Presents type episode and perfectly watchable. The second part connects with the first again with the moving to Springwood. It's the same removals company that's used, in the same removals guy, Turk, who's an asshole in the A story and he's an asshole in the B story. It's quite funny that he uses exactly the same pickup line on the single lady now moving into her apartment building as he used on the wife in part A. He's obviously a bit of a hound, is Turk, but certainly an asshole. This one it's a sort of supernatural romance kind of story. It's flimsy, there's nothing to it. She moves into the apartment. She has a dream of a man who used to live there, who keeps a cache of love letters from his mistress hidden from his wife in a secret location. When she wakes up, she looks at that location. Lo and behold, there are the cache of letters. She becomes involved in this love triangle through the letters, and through dreams transports herself back to take the place of first the mistress and then later on the wife. It's boring. It's paper thin. You're just waiting for the twist at the end, and the twist at the end is only that really she becomes, what's the opposite of enamored? Unenamored? No. She becomes unenamored with this Gregory character that she's sort of fallen in love with through these love letters with her mistress, and starts to feel sorry for the wife, even whilst in her dreams she's taking the place of the mistress, until the final time she goes back, she's switched, and the husband and the mistress have made a plot to kill the wife to get rid of her, and she's suddenly in the wife's body, and as the wife gets shot, it's all very strange. It seems a little unfair. There's not even really any morals at play. She hasn't done anything wrong herself. It's not. It doesn't really belong in a TV series called Freddy's Nightmares. So the first half I would definitely rewatch. The second half, that's a skipper.